Thank you for joining us for this episode of Comply on the Fly with M3 and Karen B. Comply on the Fly is your trusted weekly resource for reliable insight and quick answers on common employee benefits compliance questions. Please note, this podcast and the contents herein do not constitute legal advice. Seek the advice of counsel for any employee benefits compliance-related guidance or strategy.
Hello, everyone. I'm Karen B. And the Comply on the Fly question of the week is, what is the PCORI fee for this year and how do I pay it? Well, the PCORI fee has been around for a while now, since 2012 to be exact, and it will be around for a bit longer, until 2029. PCORI, P-C-O-R-I, stands for Patient-Centered Outcomes Research Institute, and fees to fund this institute apply to fully insured and self-insured healthcare benefits. The fees are paid annually and are due by July 31st, so it is a perfect time to discuss how the fees apply and where to pay them. First of all, if you only sponsor a fully insured plan without an HRA or health reimbursement arrangement, you will not need to proactively pay these fees, and the fully insured carrier pays them on your behalf. However, if you have a self-funded health plan, including a health reimbursement arrangement that's integrated with a fully insured plan, which technically is a self-funded plan, the HRA, you will need to pay the fees directly to the IRS, Internal Revenue Service. Employers that have an HRA, health reimbursement arrangement, integrated with a self-funded medical plan do not have to pay separate or double fees for both of those self-funded plans. Second, what are the fees? Well, the fees are based on your plan year for your health plan, and the applicable amounts change every October 1st. This year, for plan years that end in the months between January 1 and September 30th, 2022, the applicable fee is $2.79 per covered life under the plan. For plan years that ended between October 1st, 2022 and December 31st, 2022, the applicable fee is $3 per covered life. For instance, a calendar year plan of January 1, 2022 to December 31st, 2022 would owe $3 per covered life on the plan during that plan year. If you need to see a visual of plan years and corresponding fees, visit m3ins.com and type in PCORI to find our article and chart. Third, how do you determine the number of covered lives under the plan if you are required to pay the PCORI fee? Well, there are different approved methods for determining the number of covered lives. The actual count method, which requires you to count the number of covered lives each day of the plan year and divide by the number of days. Snapshot, where you add the total of covered lives on a date during the first, second, or third month of each quarter of the plan year and divide by 4. All dates used under this method must fall within the same plan year. The snapshot factor method, which in the case of self-only and other than self-only coverage, you would determine the sum of the number of participants with self-only coverage plus the number of participants with other than self-only coverage multiplied by 2.35. Or finally, the Form 5500 method, where you use the counts from your 5500 filing for the year and add the number of participants at the beginning of the plan year to the number of participants at the end of the plan year for the total amount of covered lives. Once you have the number of covered lives for the plan year, you will have to enter that number on Form 720, which is technically a quarterly excise tax return. If you file quarterly excise taxes, this will just be a part of your second quarter filing. If PCORI fees are the only item for you on the Form 720, you will just fill out that section and file. The section is Part 2 of Form 720, line 133, under Applicable Self-Insured Plans. You will fill in the number of covered lives and multiply by the corresponding fee per covered life. Remember, for this year, it is either $2.79 or $3 per covered life, depending on your plan year. The current Form 720 at the time of this recording does not have the correct amounts listed. We will let you know when they provide an updated form. And that is your Comply on the Fly question of the week. Thanks for tuning in.
What's on your mind? If you have a pressing compliance question, send it to askkarenb@m3ins.com. We'll do our best to cover it in an upcoming episode. You can now follow and subscribe to Comply on the Fly on Spotify, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. Make sure to tune in next week and encourage others to join us.